Okay, hey, this is Aaron Brown with Nintendo World Report. I'm here with David and Ian from Yacht Club Games. We're going to talk about some Shovel Knight. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Great. Yeah, we're just doing lots of patches for the game and doing updates and trying to get it out internationally and lots of that kind of.
I thought that when Shovel Knight was done that we would be able to relax and maybe gather our thoughts a little bit, but instead things are busier than ever. So yeah, we're doing all that stuff, just making sure that we can keep the energy going in terms of getting it out to everyone and making sure that it's perfect.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask about that, but it seems like you guys jumped the gun. You guys seem still amped, still riding the wave, which is awesome. So as far as development-wise, for the levels, do you want to explain the brainstorming process that went behind it? Because they feel so lovingly crafted.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, some of our Kickstarter backers actually got to sit in on this process since we had a certain reward tier where you could join in on our design hangouts, and we had a big whiteboard, and we just went through the whole process, as I'll detail right now. We usually start with the theme of the stage, is the strongest driving thing, and that's usually already derived from the theme of the character. So it's okay, Treasure Knight is a greedy person who has a submarine and is probably underwater based. So we're looking at an underwater stage, that maybe that means mobility that slows the player down. Maybe that means sometimes you're just on the seabed, but other times you're in a mechanical submarine or something like that to help balance the fact that he's a diver and also a treasure hunter. And from there we usually sit around, the group gets together in front of a whiteboard or just with a notepad of paper, and we just start listing out ideas. So it's what if there's seaweed that obscures the playfield, so you have to cut it? What if there's a scary angler fish that mimics something Shovel Knight looks for? What if there's anchors that fall or missiles that shoot? And we kind of just go through and just spitball many ideas, and then we cut it down to the nice NES number of 7 major ideas or 4 major ideas, and try to expand on it. Usually we're looking for something like a mechanic that can be used in a few different ways. So in the example of the seaweed, covering the playfield, that works for a single screen, but there's only so much we can do to expand upon it, screen after screen after screen. So we usually try to stick with something that can get a lot of reuse or a lot of combinations and things like that.
Yeah, and it's finding the right, the things that can go together, well, right? It's well, maybe the seaweed is a cool idea on its own, but the seaweed doesn't work with an enemy. So we can't get 2 ideas out of a combination. So it's figuring out the right things that work together well too.
Yeah, and then we honing it into we do know we've made levels before, so we know some big things that we're looking for. A good example is it's an anglerfish, that'd be great. How about he's the mid boss? That's the big enemy you fight, the griffin or something like that. Instead of making him just a random enemy, he could be a big event. Or we know we want 2 or 3 mobility things that platforms that move in surprising ways or ways that test the player's mobility. So we ended up with the falling anchors and the torpedoes and things like that. So it's kind of we spitball a lot of ideas, and then we try to hone them into the slots, so to speak, for what we expect out of a level, which is platforming challenges, combat challenges, and things slight tweaks to mobility.